Hi, this is Esther with Discover Your Origins. In this video, I'm going to be doing some descendancy research in real time so you can kind of see one way to do it. This is not a research project necessarily where you're going to do any extensive research in repositories or record collections. I'm just going to do just enough to establish connections between people. If I ever run into a place where I'm not really sure, then I'll just kind of let that hang and not worry about it too much. But currently, I'm working on the Langford family, which eventually got me to this Henry Jackson Snelgrove. And you can see here on the screen that I've got them side by side in Ancestry and Family Search, which is the way that I usually work. So let me show you how I got here. First, I'll start in Ancestry. And let me make this screen bigger. So I have James Langford here. He is a hypothetical ancestor, and I'm tracing his descendants to see if I can find any connections or possible descendants who are living that would be willing to do a DNA test. I haven't quite got to the point yet where I've asked anybody to do a test, even though I have gotten to some living people, but I wanted to do a little bit more descendancy research on his children before I kind of go that route. So I started with James Langford and Nancy Bell. I don't really have very much documentation. I don't know where that came from for sure that James Langford and Nancy Bell married. There is no question though on who James Langford's children are for the most part. They seem to be pretty well established. Let me go to James Langford's page here so you can kind of see where he started. So here's James Langford with his wife and then all of his children. So William B. Langford is who I'm thinking I'm descended through to James Langford. That's still to be determined as well. I've kind of worked on the descendants already for William B. Langford, so now I'm on Susanna Langford. So let me go back to the tree view. So I've looked at Julius Snelgrove and I've looked at James Snelgrove and Barbara Edwards. And so now I'm working on Henry J. Snelgrove and all of his children and so on and so on. Show you basically the same view on Family Search. So here's Henry Jackson Snelgrove. So we have a middle name. We've got a spouse. We've got some children here for Henry that I need to look at. It looks like there's some missing spouses potentially. So I'm going to try and look for those. But you can see as I go back, there's quite a bit filled in here. And again, on Family Search, you always have to be cautious when you get into the 1700s because some of the people that are attached to the Family Search Family Tree don't have a lot of documentation. So here's James Langford with Nancy Bell. And then it goes up to Julius Snelgrove and Susanna Langford. And this has James Eason Snelgrove instead of Edwards. Let's see. Let's go back and see what I'm looking at here. Oh, James E. Snelgrove is what I have on my tree. So Eason is probably right. With Barbara Elizabeth Edwards, and then Henry Snelgrove and his wife Leah Rosanna Minix. And so I'm going to evaluate all of the sources on Family Search as well. But all right, so let's go back to the profile pages for Henry Jackson Snelgrove on Ancestry and Family Search. Okay, here we go. When I'm doing descendancy research on a particular person, I get to somewhere like Henry Jackson Snelgrove. I usually do it on Ancestry first because I usually get a more abundant hints right away. In Family Search, if there's been any work done on individuals, there will be attached records already. You can see on Family Search there's already 12 sources attached. There are some that are unattached. I like to start with a clean slate so that I'm evaluating things with fresh eyes. I do take a quick look at Family Search just to see what it says so that if I'm looking at over here and it seems like it matches, then I can kind of see if I'm on the right track or not. Sometimes that strategy can lead you down the wrong path, and so you do want to be careful, but by evaluating both profiles on each site, you can kind of get a sense of where you're going and whether you're in the right direction. When I scroll down here, I can see Henry Jackson's got a spouse and some children. And so I'm going to look at these hints on Ancestry first. And if I see anything that looks like it's agreeing with FamilySearch, I'm going to look at the sources and make sure. Then I'll go ahead and attach them on my Ancestry tree. So let's go ahead and click over to hints, and let's make this screen bigger. And I'm just going to scroll down a little bit here. Okay, so we've got a Leah Snelgrove as a spouse for this Find a Grave hint, and a May Boyette. Let me go back. Let's look. So we have a Leah Rosanna, so that matches, and then a Lily Mae Snelgrove. So that may be a good match there. We've got Henry and Leah in the 1920 census. We've got the 1910 census where we've got Henry and Leah again. 1930, 1940. We've got a death index record, so we've got the death date. We've got the marriage record. This Dorset, England is probably not correct. Interesting, though, that the birth and death information is a match, but we have a Georgia death index record up here, which is probably correct, and this other death record is probably a different person. So I'm just going to go ahead and click ignore on that right now. Okay, we've got a Henry J. Snelgrove in 1950. I'm going to want to look at that one a little bit closer. And we've got a draft card. And this says John Henry instead of Henry Jackson, but that doesn't mean it's not a match. I mean, Leah Snelgrove in the right county, Ben Hill, probably is a match there. All right, so let's start by reviewing these record hints here. And as you look at these record hints and start attaching things, you're going to see how quickly things can get filled out. We got birth and death date. There's no bio on this. We have a headstone. So I'm just going to go ahead and click yes. Now you could go and actually look at the Find a Grave record page if you wanted to, and that probably would be a good idea. Now there is a difference here on the birth location. So I've got Edgefield and I've got Georgia, Edgefield County, South Carolina versus Georgia. Find a Grave memorials are not going to be reliable places of information necessarily. They can be used as a guide. But in this case, I'm going to leave this as Edgefield, South Carolina for right now. Just going to fix the spelling. And keep an eye out. Probably look at the draft card because that's going to be the best place to get the birth information. All right. And then I like to kind of standardize the locations as I go through and make sure I'm moving over the date information as I need it. I'm going to go ahead and say next. And I'm going to go ahead and add the same information for Leah. Now it says she was born in Georgia. We'll see. We'll try to verify that through census records. And then the daughter here, it gives her married name. So I'm just going to change this over to Snelgrove so I have her maiden name. And also standardize. All right, we'll hit save. Okay, so as soon as you update something like that in Ancestry, it adds it up here on the title for the profile. The headstone picture, you can add it. We'll go ahead and add it here. All right, so William H. Snelgrove. This is a 1900. I have a William H. Snelgrove born in Alabama and a Lee Ella Snelgrove. That's probably not correct because we know we've got either South Carolina or Georgia as a birthplace in July of 1876. So I'm going to go ahead and click ignore on that. Okay, so now we have a 1920 census record. Let's look at that. Okay, so this says Henry Snelgrove, 43 years old, born in South Carolina, currently living in Ben Hill, Georgia, married to Leah Snelgrove. And I always encourage you to look at the actual census record because it can reveal clues. So let's look here. We got Henry, they're renting South Carolina. Okay, Leah says she's born in Georgia. We've got several children listed here, so we'll make sure we want to add all of those. And let's see, his parents are born in South Carolina. That seems to match with what I know. And farmer. So that makes sense. So that looks pretty good. So we're just going to go ahead and say yes. We've got the 1910 census, South Carolina. All right. Some children. All right, this Queen v. Wilcox that's listed here. I'm not sure who that is, so I'm just going to take a quick look. Let's see. On the next page. Says daughter, widowed, 20 years old, one child born, one child living. Okay. So they had a daughter. Huh, that's interesting. I'll have to look at that a little bit closer. On that, I'm going to just take a quick peek. Is there anyone named Queen over here? There's not. So, all right, let's go ahead and add this. We got Leah. We have Willis. So we'll add him. Birth years are very different there. That's going to take a little scrutiny. Johnny, Frederick, and Queen. It says daughter of... For right now, I'm just going to go ahead and add her as Wilcox. I'm not 100% sure, so I'm going to go ahead and add her so I don't lose her. There's a lot more children listed here than that's in FamilySearch. I'm wondering if this Eddie Sue and this Edison are the same person. So I need to actually look at that a little bit closer. The marriage record now. Leah Minix. So there's her maiden name. And we can actually look at this record. Okay, so Henry J. Snelgrove, Leah Minix. That's married 3rd of August, 1902 by W.J. Marlowe. And this doesn't have any other information, but we get the maiden name for Leah. So we'll go ahead and add this. Now let's look at this draft card. Okay, so this draft card, it's World War I. So we've got a birth date, so that's good. We don't have a birth location, but we have place of employment. We've got the wife's name, Leah. So that's good. We've got it's signed John Henry Snelgrove. Interesting. Okay. So he's also known as John Henry. So let's go ahead and save this. All right, so there is Henry Jackson. And what I will do on FamilySearch here is I'm going to go ahead and add the alternate name, John Henry Snelgrove, and say it's from the World War I draft card. So one reason to add the alternate name on FamilySearch is that also becomes a place where FamilySearch can provide record hints based on the alternate name. So, all right, so now I'm going to just kind of look at what the record hints are on FamilySearch and go through these. So these are record hints related to his marriage to Leah. Let's see. Okay, so we do have the marriage date here, so that's good. Let's see if there's anything else. I will probably go ahead and attach these. Okay, we've got the marriage license. Got a marriage index. Let's see what else we've got here. We have Social Security. This is for that child named Eddie. So let's just look at it. Let's see what it says. Eddie Sue Mitchell. So, and it is a female. Okay, and we've got birth date and a death date with her. And it does say Henry Snelgrove and Leah Minix. Okay, so that's interesting. And we've also got one for Inez Snelgrove. And she had more than one spouse. She's got a Benzing and a George as the last names. And Jackson H. So that might be where the Henry Jackson Snelgrove comes from. Oh, here's the MC George. As a possible spouse. And Leah Minix. Okay. All right, so that's good to know. So I would go through later and attach each of those. Everything else here, okay, we've got a Mobley Township. That might be correct. Let's look at that. There's not actually any records here that say Mobley. I may be right, I don't know. We'll just leave it for right now. Oh, Mobley in 1880, which is close to when he was born. So it may be right. Okay. And we've only got 5 children listed in FamilySearch. And we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 possible children. So there's quite a bit of work to do on this family. So what I'm going to do at this point is I'm going to attach all the record hints on FamilySearch. And then I'm going to move over to Leah. And I'll just go look at her person page over here on FamilySearch. So I'm going to go through and attach all the record hints and clean everything up in my ancestry tree and also on FamilySearch. And then in the next video, I might start looking at some of the children. So stay tuned for that. Thanks for watching.